Welcome back to the channel World Coins Master everyone. If you've been searching for the most exciting and jaw-dropping coin stories on the internet, you've just stumbled upon one of the greatest of them all. So grab a seat, turn up your volume, and get ready to dive deep into a world where a single penny, yes, just 1 cent, could actually be worth an astronomical $500 million. Today, we're going to unravel the shocking and captivating tale of the 1983 Lincoln Memorial Penny, a coin that may look like an ordinary cent to most people, but under the right circumstances and through a twist of rare minting fate, becomes one of the most mysterious and sought-after treasures in all of American numismatics. You may be wondering how a simple copper-colored coin, minted over 4 decades ago and bearing the humble face of Abraham Lincoln, could ever be worth more than even the most luxurious mansion or fastest sports car. But once you hear the story behind this coin, once you understand the depth of the errors, the whispers among collectors, the quirks of history, the anomalies of metallurgy, and the sheer improbability of its creation, you'll understand why this coin is not just a cent, it's a legend. The 1983 penny is more than just metal. It's mystery, controversy, history, and value all fused together in a coin smaller than your thumb. So, let's take a journey back in time to understand the background of the 1983 1 cent coin. The coin was minted at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D Mint mark just below the year on the obverse side of the coin. In 1983, the U.S. Mint had already transitioned from using a primarily copper composition for pennies to a new core made mostly of zinc, coated with a thin layer of copper. This change, which took place in mid-1982, was intended to reduce production costs, as copper prices had risen and making each penny out of mostly copper was no longer financially sustainable for the U.S. Mint. Most 1983 pennies, including those minted in Denver, were supposed to be made using the new copper-plated zinc planchets. These new planchets were significantly lighter and less expensive to produce than their copper-based predecessors. However, as is sometimes the case in large industrial processes, errors and inconsistencies can occur. Sometimes, old planchets get mixed into the production line. Sometimes dies get reused or mistakenly altered. And sometimes, just sometimes, a coin is born under the most unlikely and rare circumstances imaginable. That brings us to the crux of this coin's mystique. Reports have surfaced over the years of 1983 pennies, particularly those from the Philadelphia Mint, struck on copper planchets from 1982 or earlier. These rare anomalies, weighing approximately 3.1 grams instead of the expected 2.5 grams for zinc cents, have become the stuff of legend among collectors. The copper 1983 cent is so rare that just a handful have ever been confirmed to exist. These aren't mint errors you find every day. They are almost unicorns of the numismatic world. When such coins are discovered, they can command enormous sums at auction, sometimes in the tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. But here's where things get even more intriguing. To date, authenticated 1983 copper cents have primarily come from the Philadelphia Mint. No confirmed examples from the Denver Mint had been widely publicized, until rumors began swirling in collector circles and certain obscure auctions hinted at the existence of a 1983 penny not only struck on a copper planchet, but also exhibiting multiple layers of compounding errors that defy logic. And if even one such coin truly exists, and it combines extremely rare physical composition, rare strike errors, historical uniqueness, and perfect condition, it could theoretically be worth a staggering amount. Some experts even whisper figures up to $500 million, especially if the story around the coin captivates the imagination of collectors, museums, and wealthy enthusiasts worldwide. Now, let's go even deeper. What kind of errors would need to be present in a 1983 penny for it to reach this mythical value of $500 million? Well, to understand that, we must explore the different types of mint errors and what makes them so appealing to collectors. One of the most commonly sought-after mint errors is the double die. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between strikes, resulting in a coin where the image, lettering, or numbers appear doubled. Some double die errors are extremely prominent and easy to spot, while others are more subtle. The 1955 double die Lincoln cent is perhaps the most famous example, with a clear and dramatic doubling that makes it one of the most valuable era coins ever produced. Now imagine a 1983 D penny with a strong, unmistakable double die on both the obverse and reverse. That alone could elevate its value significantly. But now add another layer. What if the coin was struck on a leftover copper planchet from 1982 or earlier, a coin that was never supposed to exist that alone has previously fetched values up to $20,000 or more for the Philadelphia variant, and that's without the Denver Mint mark, which could potentially make it even rarer. Now take it one step further. Suppose the coin also exhibits an off-center strike, a condition where the coin design is not properly centered on the planchet, making it visually stunning and immediately recognizable as a mint error. Let's go further still. Suppose the 1983 D penny was struck not only off-center, but also featured a dramatic broad strike error, where the coin is struck outside of its normal retaining collar, resulting in a coin that is wider and flatter than usual. And let's say it was also struck through grease or debris, obscuring parts of the design. And let's suppose, just for the sake of building the perfect storm of rarity and mystery, that the coin's reverse side, which should feature the Lincoln Memorial, instead shows a strange ghosting or overstrike from a completely different denomination. Maybe a Roosevelt dime image partially appearing beneath Lincoln's bust. This is a fantasy scenario, of course, but in the world of minting anomalies, stranger things have happened. The presence of multiple errors on a single coin is incredibly rare. When you find one error, that's interesting. When you find 2 or 3 errors coexisting on a single coin, that's extraordinary. When you find 4 or 5 distinct and severe errors, especially on a coin that's already rare because of its composition or mint mark, you enter a realm of value that is difficult to quantify. And now we introduce another major variable: condition. Coin collectors use a grading scale from 1 to 70 to evaluate the condition of a coin. A coin graded at MS 70, mint state 70, is considered to be in perfect, flawless condition with no signs of wear or contact. If our hypothetical 1983 D era penny, with all its miraculous and improbable traits, were to be discovered in MS 70 condition, or perhaps even with a proof-like finish indicating an unusually sharp and lustrous strike, it would push the value even higher. High-grade coins are exponentially more valuable than their lower-grade counterparts, particularly when they're rare to begin with. Now let's consider the possibility of provenance and discovery story. In the world of collectibles, the backstory matters. A coin found in a dusty attic by a young collector, or uncovered in a long-forgotten mint bag sealed since the early 1980s, carries with it a narrative that captures attention and fuels bidding wars. Add in national headlines, news stories, museum interest, and historical significance, and suddenly this coin is more than metal. It's history. It's art. It's a symbol of American minting tradition and the extraordinary accidents that sometimes emerge from within it. To understand how value can spiral to the realm of hundreds of millions, we must consider how the rarest and most coveted collectibles often command prices far beyond their material worth. Think of the 1933 Double Eagle, which sold for over $18 million. Or the British Guiana 1C Magenta stamp, which fetched nearly $9.5 million. The price isn't just about scarcity, it's about fame, mystery, narrative, desirability, and the uniqueness that makes collectors willing to pay any amount for ownership. In this case, a 1983 D Lincoln penny with a perfect storm of errors, an impossible composition, mysterious origins, flawless condition, and a captivating discovery story could absolutely rise into this stratosphere. If only one such coin exists, if it is the only one of its kind ever discovered, then the value is truly determined by how much someone is willing to pay for the singular opportunity to own it. And in the world of high-end numismatics, that figure could conceivably reach $500 million, especially with the right marketing, global exposure, and collector frenzy. And don't forget, speculation adds another layer. Some experts believe there may be a small handful of these anomalous 1983 D copper cents with extreme error combinations still out there, waiting to be found. In unsearched rolls, in forgotten coin jars, in old estates, or buried inside mint-sealed bags that haven't seen daylight in decades. The mystery of the unknown fuels the excitement. It drives the hunt. And it propels the possibility that one of you watching this video right now could be the person who discovers the next legendary era coin. So what should you look for if you have a 1983 D penny in your collection? First, weigh the coin. A standard zinc penny from 1983 should weigh about 2.5 grams. If your coin weighs around 3.1 grams, you may have something truly special, possibly a copper planchet error. Second, examine the coin under magnification. Look for doubling in the date, the letters in Liberty or In God We Trust. Check for any unusual spacing, ghosting, or other anomalies. Third, che. Today, we're going to uncover the riveting tale of a seemingly ordinary 1990 D 1-cent coin that has become the center of jaw-dropping attention due to its unimaginable potential value of up to $550 million. That's right, a coin originally worth just 1 cent. This is a story that blends history, craftsmanship, mistakes, and incredible luck, the kind that could turn pocket change into life-changing fortune. Before we dive into this fascinating world, take a moment and think about the change sitting in your kitchen drawer, the coins lost under your car seat, or even the ones jingling in your wallet right now. What if among them lies a hidden treasure, a coin so rare, so extraordinary, so filled with error and mystery that it becomes the holy grail of numismatics? That's the kind of coin we're going to talk about today. The 1990 D Lincoln penny, a small copper-plated coin that could have been dismissed 1,000 times as insignificant, but in this story, becomes a financial legend. Let's begin with the basics of the 1990 D 1-cent coin. This penny was minted at the Denver Mint, hence the D Mint mark beneath the year on the obverse of the coin, just under the date. It was struck primarily in zinc with a thin copper coating, following the 1982 transition from the earlier bronze composition. But what makes this coin special isn't simply its mint mark or its composition, it's the array of potential minting errors, anomalies, and the speculative yet exciting possibility of a unique piece being worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, some of you might be wondering, how can a single penny be worth $550 million? It sounds outlandish, perhaps even ridiculous. But in the world of rare coins, such astronomical values are not born from the coin's face value or the metal it contains. They are born from rarity, historical context, misprints, and the powerful allure of a one-of-a-kind error. Coin collectors, or numismatists, seek out pieces that tell stories, especially when those stories include mysteries that defy conventional minting logic. The 1990 D penny in question is a candidate for this legendary status because of its potential to feature one or more incredibly rare mint errors. But before we explore those, it's important to understand what mint errors are and how they occur. A mint error is essentially a mistake made during the coin's production at a U.S. mint facility. These errors can occur at multiple stages: in the creation of the planchet, the blank metal disc before it becomes a coin, during the actual striking process, or even when the coin is being ejected from the press. There are a variety of mint errors that can occur, and each has its own unique appeal. These include double strikes, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die breaks, die caps, wrong planchet errors, transitional errors, and more. But the rarest and often most valuable errors involve missing mint marks, wrong dies, or combinations of multiple rare anomalies on a single coin. In 1990, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies, more than 6.8 billion in Philadelphia and over 4.9 billion in Denver. Most of these coins are virtually worthless in today's market, aside from their intrinsic value as legal tender. But every now and then, one coin escapes the mint with a flaw that makes it an outlier. And when collectors discover these rare outliers, especially if they are the only one of their kind, their value skyrockets. Let's take a look at what could make the 1990 D penny a $550 million piece of modern treasure. First, we have to consider the possibility of a mint mark error, or more specifically, the absence of a mint mark. This occurred famously in the 1990 Lincoln cent series when a number of proof pennies struck in San Francisco were mistakenly released without the S mint mark. These coins are already well known and can fetch thousands of dollars. But imagine if a Denver minted coin, intended for circulation, had either a missing or incorrect mint mark. Such a flaw would be considered exceedingly rare and a minting catastrophe. Now imagine combining that with another anomaly, for example, a wrong planchet error. Suppose this 1990 penny was struck not on a zinc planchet, as intended, but on a leftover bronze planchet from pre-1982, something that is incredibly rare but not impossible. Such transitional errors have occurred in the past, and when verified, they fetch astronomical prices. Further, imagine this particular coin was also struck with a doubled die, a famous and highly desired type of error in which the die that strikes the coin has been misaligned or impressed twice, causing a doubling effect on the letters or numbers. One of the most sought-after examples of this is the 1955 doubled die Lincoln cent coins. With this kind of dramatic doubling have become legendary, with some selling for over $100,000. And those are coins that are known to exist in multiple copies. But let's push the boundaries even further. Imagine a 1990 penny with multiple rare errors, a doubled die obverse, struck on a bronze planchet, with a missing mint mark, and an off-center strike, all in one coin. The likelihood of such a piece existing is astronomically low, but not zero. In fact, minting mistakes are often compounded during high-speed, high-volume coin production. A coin that contains multiple catastrophic minting errors, particularly from a year as heavily minted as 1990, could be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Now let's add one final element: provenance. Suppose this hypothetical coin was discovered in an old Denver mint bag, unopened for decades, hidden away in a private collection or bank vault. Suppose the coin was in pristine condition, perhaps graded MS-70 by a top-tier grading service like PCGS or NGC. Suppose it was examined and authenticated by experts who confirmed not only the errors but also its singularity, that it was truly one of a kind. Such a coin would instantly become the most valuable penny in existence, not just for its minting errors but for its place in numismatic history. The $550 million figure may sound sensational, but in the world of collectibles, unique items can and do reach such heights. Consider the 1933 Double Eagle gold coin, which sold for over $18 million at auction. Consider rare stamps, artwork, or even baseball cards like the Honus Wagner card, which sold for over $7 million. When scarcity meets demand, especially among billionaires or elite institutions, prices soar. Imagine the frenzy if the 1990 era penny was put up for auction. Media outlets would cover the story globally. Collectors, investors, museums, and institutions would compete to own this slice of American minting history. And the price? It could easily escalate to figures never seen before in numismatics, perhaps even crossing the $500 million mark. But what's fascinating is that the story of the 1990 penny is not just about one coin. It's about the possibility that coins like this, with untold stories, hidden errors, and immense value, are still out there. It's about the treasure hunt that happens every day across America and around the world, as people examine their pocket change, hoping to find that one in a billion coin. This brings us to an important point. How can you spot a potentially valuable coin like the hypothetical 1990 penny worth $550 million? It starts with paying attention. Every coin has tiny details that can distinguish it from the billions of others just like it. You'll want to look at the mint mark, examine the date, check for any doubling in the letters or numbers, inspect the edges, and compare the weight, especially if it feels heavier or lighter than normal. A good magnifying glass, a digital scale, and access to a coin reference guide can go a long way. If you think you've found something unusual, the next step is authentication. Coin grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, can professionally examine, authenticate, and grade your coin. A high grade combined with verified errors can multiply the value significantly. Even if you don't have a $550 million coin, a verified mint era penny can still be worth thousands, tens of thousands, or more. Of course, as with anything valuable, the world of rare coins is full of counterfeits and fakes. There are people who artificially create errors or alter mint marks in an attempt to deceive collectors. That's why authentication and provenance are so important. A genuine, verified coin with proper documentation will always command a premium. Returning to the 1990 penny, let's imagine its journey. Picture a mint worker at the Denver facility unknowingly loading a leftover bronze planchet into the machine. The die, perhaps misaligned or carrying a doubled image, strikes the coin. Somehow, the mint mark doesn't get imprinted correctly, or is completely missing. The coin is struck slightly off-center, and instead of being caught by quality control, it escapes into circulation. Or perhaps it never enters circulation at all. Maybe it was caught early, tossed into a reject bin, or pocketed by someone unaware of its value. Decades later, it reappears, pristine, mysterious, and priceless. That's the stuff of dreams for coin collectors. But it's also a reminder of how dynamic and intriguing the minting process is. The United States Mint, while remarkably efficient and consistent, is not immune to human error or mechanical glitches. These imperfections, while rare, are exactly what makes the most valuable coins so compelling. They are deviations from perfection, mistakes that become treasures. So, could a 1990 penny truly be worth $550 million? While we may never know for sure unless such a coin is discovered and authenticated, the possibility is what drives the passion of collectors. It reminds us that even the most ordinary objects can carry extraordinary